morning, reptilians. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. I'm Elle and this is Elle's Reptiles. This week we are doing something exciting. I have got an animal that for all of my keeping of reptiles time, I have been super iffy about keeping this animal, and I got one. I'm super excited about it. I love her so much, but I just didn't know if I was equipped to take care of this animal because it's not the most beginner friendly animal. Anyways, all that rambling, we're looking at my new chameleon. This is a female Jackson's chameleon. Before we get into the video, a huge thanks to ReptiZoo for sending me this chameleon habitat. I adore this habitat. Let's get started. So for this habitat, again, crazy easy to set up. Unboxed it. I thought there was gonna be a whole bunch of pieces to put together, but no. There's just these pieces. It just folds out. You put one little screw in the top and the bottom, and you have a completed habitat. This specific one is all acrylic on the front. There's two separate door compartment things on the front, and then all three of the sides are screen. So it does hold in a little bit more humidity than just a full-blown screen habitat, but I like it a lot. And so that was super easy. Let's set up the tank. On the surface, chameleon habitats look like they are so easy to set up. You are just putting plants in there. You're not even putting soil in there. You're just keeping them in the pots. You can put soil and make it fully bioactive and stuff, but it's easier if you just keep them in the pots and leave the bottom bare. So that's what we are doing. For the lighting on top of this tank, we are using the Pfluger's dimmable dome with a small wattage heat bulb, the Arcadia shade dweller for UVB, and I also ended up throwing another extra light on top because it just wasn't quite bright enough. This is not this tank's forever home. It is temporarily setting here until I get the rest of the tank set stacked on top of this one, and then this guy will go to the other side of my room on a designated those tanks get here. This is what we got, and it works fantastically, so it's fine. As for the plants, we are leaving them in the pots, but it is very important that you take the soil that comes in the pot out and replace it with organic topsoil, just because you don't know if any pesticides or fertilizers or anything have been used in those pots beforehand. Also, it took me forever to get this tank right. I played around with these plants for forever. The main tree in the middle of this is a Ficus elastica, also known as the rubber plant. This one is a species of Dracaena, and then we also have two pothos plants in here, along with lots of natural driftwood and vines. Finding the plants for these guys in itself wasn't the easiest because I wanted to make sure that they were all safe and they weren't going to hurt my chameleon in any way, because some chameleons will eat plants from time to time. So we went to flcams.com and they have a whole chameleon safe plants list. And once I was looking into all this, I kind of was going back and forth on the ficus just because it is listed on all of the chameleon safe plants list. However, in certain chameleon forums, they talk about how it could potentially be aggravating if the stems break and they leak sap. I haven't had anything break at all, but since it is on all those safe lists, I decided to go ahead and use it. Just basically keep an eye on her to make sure that everything is okay, and so far, so fantastic. I learned that you are supposed to kind of slant your vines when you're setting up for a chameleon and not go straight across. That makes it easier for them to kind of get around, so I made sure to do that. And of course, there are two thermometers on the top and the bottom, so I can get those temperature measurements. This tank was very in depth. Again, looking at chameleon tanks, they look super simple. Setting them up, not so much. The very first day after getting her, I decided that she needed a misting system because her nighttime humidity is supposed to be pretty high. So temporarily, I put a fogger on there just until the misting system came. My original intention was to find like a small breeder of chameleons to get a chameleon from. However, I was looking online and trying to find one, and I ended up coming across this one. This is the first time that I have ever ordered from this website, so of course I went and looked up reviews, and they had pretty good reviews, and it seemed like their customers was pretty happy. So I went ahead and ordered from CB Reptile. Now afterwards, I did go into the chameleon forums, and it seems like some people don't have that good of experiences with them, so just keep that in mind. My honest opinion of this company for getting reptiles, I was not a big fan of how she was shipped. She was shipped in a giant box with just paper to keep her from rattling around. So when I pulled her out of the box, her entire thing was on its side, so it wasn't even sitting upright. Was not a fan of that. However, getting her, she did look healthy, and I immediately took her stool sample to my vet to get it parasite tested, and she came back all clear. She's been eating and drinking and all those things like normal, so everything so far is good. Just if that is one that you want to order from, maybe look into it and figure out what you want to do. As for her name, I keep going back and forth between Sarah, like from Land Before Time, or Mrs. Crawley from Sing. I originally wanted to name her Mrs. Crawley, but my 6-year-old informed me that that's weird and that I should pick a different name. So let me know down in the comments below if you think that her name should be Sarah or Mrs. Crawley, or if you have another name. That's cool too. And once she got all settled in, I decided to go ahead and attempt to feed her. She was actively just kind of looking around and not being shy. The water would be on the leaves, she would go up and drink it, and I had learned from Neptune the Chameleon, love that channel, fantastic if you need chameleon resources, that chameleons are generally shy eaters and drinkers, and she wasn't shy about that. So I decided to go ahead and test feeding her, and she almost took the bugs off of my tongs. She just seems like she's settling in absolutely wonderfully, and it makes me so happy. I also saw in a video from Chameleon Academy that chameleons really make use of feeding ledges like this to where the bugs can crawl up the back screen, and this ledge is fantastic and it fits on this tank perfectly. And then about a weekend she started letting me tongue feed her. Yay! But that is it. That is all that I have for this video. Thank you again so much to ReptiZoo for sending me that tank. If ReptiZoo sounds like a familiar company to you, it's because they are all over Amazon. They have all kinds of reptile products. They have cages and hygrometers and just so many different things. When they reached out to me, I was like, of course, I will try this tank out because I'm actually in the process of getting a chameleon. Timing, 10 out of 10, absolutely perfect. So thank you so much to ReptiZoo for sending me this tank. As always, if you haven't already, please feel free to follow me on my other socials and like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications every single time I put a new video, which is every Sunday and some Wednesdays. This week's Instagram shout out is here, and this week's subscriber shout out is here. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing and commenting and sharing and following and all that jazz. You are the bee's knees. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye. Now afterwards, I went into the if ReptiZoo sounds like a familiar, if ReptiZoo sounds, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye. That was really weird. Why did I whisper? Why did I whisper that?